Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, my group will present about activity-based management. My group members are Nur Zawani Fatihah binti Zakaria, Nur Diana binti Syamsul Azhar, and Nur Syazana binti Muhammad Sabri. And I am myself, Nur Munira binti Norizan.
What does it really cost to produce a product in today's modern manufacturing environment? Which cost criteria yield the most accurate data to set fair and realistic prices? And most importantly, how can this data help improve your company's competitive position? Traditional accounting systems misallocate product costs because they're based on assumed linkages or convenient alternatives such as raw materials and direct labor hours. This worked well in the past when these two factors accounted for as much as 70% of a product's cost. However, over time, labor and materials contribution has been steadily displaced by overhead costs, which in reality are technology, the technicians who sustain productivity gains, and the people who manage increasingly complex manufacturing processes. Such simple allocation systems no longer accurately gauge true manufacturing costs. ABC and ABM, however, employ metrics to remedy this situation. Activity-based costing first identifies and computes the costs of activities and processes, then assigns activity costs to cost objects that consume the activity. Cost objects are parts, service, ingredients, products, customers, or distribution channels. Activity-based management uses ABC data to direct processes and their constituent activities, then evaluates those activities performed to support things like continuous improvement, total quality management, and business process re-engineering.
We will proceed to activity-based costing. Activity-based costing are what do things cost, which are activity-based costing focuses on attention on cost drivers, which the activities that cause the cost to increase, while for activity-based management, it are the factors that cause the cost to occur. The definition of activity-based costing are a method that identifies more accurate estimate of what each product costs, which is overhead costs, to produce and to examine what activities are necessary to produce each unit, because activities usually have a cost attached. So, activity-based costing provides more accurate method of product, leading to more accurate pricing decision. It increases understanding of overhead and cost drivers, and make costly and non-value adding activities more visible. It allows managers to reduce or eliminate the non-value added activities. So, activity-based costing enables effective challenges of operating costs to find better ways of allocating and eliminating them. So, for objective of activity-based costing are: firstly, it is to rectify the inaccurate cost information. Secondly, is to allocate the overhead of activity basis. And lastly, to help the management in taking quality and timely decision. Next, we proceed to activity-based management. So, what leads activity-based costing to activity-based management is what are the factors that lead activity-based costing to activity-based management. Firstly, design products and services. Secondly, signal either continuous or discontinuous. Third, guide product mix and investment decision. And lastly, choose among alternative suppliers. So for design products and services, it meets or exceeds the customer's expectation and can be produced and delivered at a profit. For signal either continue or discontinuous, the improvement in quality, price, products product features, efficiency, and speed are needed. The third one is guide product mix and investment decision. It is whether the product mix is the good investment in the company or higher. Next, we move to activity-based management. What leads ABC to ABM? What are the factors that leads activity-based costing to activity-based management? There are 4 factors that leads ABC to ABM, which are design product and services, signal either continue or discontinuous, guide product mix and investment decision, and choose among alternative suppliers. For design products and services, it must meet or exceed customers' expectation and can be produced and delivered at a profit. While for signal either continuous or discontinuous, the factors are the improvement in quality, price, product features, efficiency and speeds are needed. For the third one, which are guide product mix and investment decision, it is whether the product mix is the good investment to the company and give higher profits. And lastly, choose among alternative suppliers. We must choose the lowest price with a good quality among the others. So, the definition of activity-based management. The definition for activity-based management are a method of internal analysis that identify business activities within a company and then evaluates them based on the cost incurred by the activities and the value added by the activities. The idea is to analyze the activities related to the company's operation. In addition, it is used to identify opportunities to improve efficiency and profitability. For activity-based management, activity-based costing establishes relationship between overhead costs and activities so that costs can be more precisely allocated to products, services, or customer segments. So, activity-based management focuses on managing activities to reduce costs and improve customer value. The objective of activity-based management are identify and enhance value-added activities. Secondly, identify and reduce non-value-added activities. And lastly, redesign the company's operational procedures so as to improve efficiency, maximize value-added activities, and cut wasteful spending on non-value-added activities. Next, we move to differences between activity-based costing and activity-based management. In the terms of applications, activity-based costing are management gains a true understanding of its business processes and cost behavior during the ABC analysis process, while for activity-based management, our management applies the insights gained during ABC fact gathering and analysis to improve decision making at both operating and strategic levels. This is the essence of activity-based management. And for the roles, activity-based costing focuses on cost and performance of activity resources and consumption, while for activity-based management, it focuses on management of activities as a method for improving the value obtained by the customer and the profit got by giving this value. And lastly, the measurement. For activity-based costing, it recognizes causal relationships of cost drivers to activities. And for activity-based management, it helps in determining the contribution of each person. For example, measure cost, quality, and time.
Thank you, Munira. Now we will proceed to the steps in preparing activity-based management. There are 3 steps in preparing activity-based management, which are analysis of activities, improvement of activities, and performance measurements. The three steps that I mentioned earlier is based on a case study by A. Gunasekaran, A. Magna, and D. Singh, which is about activity-based management in a small company. So for the first step is the analysis of activities. It consists of three aspects, which are identification of value-added and non-value-added activities, analysis of critical activities, and comparing activities with benchmarking. For the first aspect, it is about the value-added and non-value-added activities. For the value-added activities, it's the transformation of product from raw material into finished goods that the customers is willing to pay, such as welding, mixing, and drilling. While for the non-value-added activities, is an activity that does not add value to product from the customer's perspective or for the business, and it can be eliminated, such as machine setup. For the second aspect is the analysis of critical activities. It focuses on the most critical activities that would add value to the customers or help the effective operation of the business. The activities that provide significant opportunities can be improved for this aspect. For the last aspect is comparing activities with benchmarking. Comparing activity with benchmarking of good practice helps to determine the scope for further improvement. A good benchmarking can help the company for a better decision making and can solve their problems easily. The second step is the improvement of activities. There are four aspects in the second step, which are reducing the time or effort required to perform an activity, eliminating unnecessary activities, selecting low-cost activities, and sharing activities. For the first aspect is about reducing the time or effort required to perform an activity. It is to reduce the time and effort needed to perform an activity. As an example, the time to set up a machine can be reduced by improved training. The employees can be trained to use the machine properly, and it can reduce the time and improve their efficiency in producing product. Next aspect is eliminating unnecessary activities, which some activities are eliminated because they are not valuable to the customers or not essential to the organization. Thus, it will reduce the overall cost and the cost of products. Next is selecting low-cost activities. The company needs to choose the lowest cost activities. And the last one is sharing of activities. The organization can cut off their costs by grouping of products into work cells. As an example, two different departments sharing the activities of storage and documentation. For the last step is the performance measurement. The measurement includes both financial and non-financial measurement. ABM system uses cost drivers of a company's activities as a basis of their measurement. Thus, it will influence the behavior of cost management. I will pass the next presentation to Nurul Shazana.
Thank you, Nurdiana. I will explain on the uses of ABM. Basically, there are three uses of ABM. The first one is to determine the total profitability of a customer. Secondly, to determine the total profitability of a new product. And lastly, to determine the total profitability of R&D department. For the first point, which is to determine the total profitability of a customer, it means that the firm can gather the information from the frequency of the transaction. For example, purchases, sales return, and use of the time of the customer service department. For the second uses, which is to determine the total profitability of a new product, it means that the firm can look the performance of a new product after it has launched in the market. For instance, sales, warranty claims, repair time required for return goods. For the last uses of ABM, it is to determine the total profitability of R&D department. The firm can see whether the research and development phases are successful or not. For example, invested fund and outcome of a new product developed. I will proceed with the uses of ABM. The types of ABM. Basically, in general, there are two types of ABM. The first one is operational activity-based management, and the second one is strategic activity-based management. What is operational activity-based management? It is doing things right. In contrast, for the strategic activity-based management, it is doing the right thing. For the operational activity-based management, it relates to making the organization more efficient by reducing the cost of activity and eliminate those activities that do not add values. In contrast, for the strategic activity-based management, it means that it essentially involves deciding which product to make and which customer to sell based on the more accurate analysis of product and customer profitability that activity-based costing allows. I will pass to Nur Zawani to explain on the implication of ABM. Thank you.
Thank you, Nur Shazana. I'm Nur Zawani and I'll be explaining about the implementation of activity-based management. The first is focus on critical needs. Before implementing an expensive information system, the company should decide what are the organization's most important issues or decisions. This is to prevent the organizations from wasting their time to focus on unimportant issues. Next, for smaller companies, they need to be especially creative to find reasonable activity cost drivers from their often more limited data, such as material cost as a proxy. This is to increase the efficiency of the organization by choosing the right cost drivers. Next, for top management support, if activity-based management might be a useful tool in the organization, they need to get top management support first. With their help, they can identify critical information needs and show how an activity cost approach could provide valuable information. And last, for implementation team, the actual users of the activity-based management information should represent on the implementation team. A common mistake is putting managers on the team and not getting enough input from the cost accountants or other analysts. By putting the right person in the implementation team, they will increase the efficiency of the activity-based management. Next, I will pass to Nur Diana. Thank you.
Thank you, Zawani. Now we will proceed to the importance of activity-based management to employers. We found a case study by Leslie Friend on 2018, which is about the activity-based management and control system design. The employer stated in his case study are managers and superiors. These are the importance that has been listed in his case study, which are providing goals and targets for managers, or the managers' decision making to achieve goals and targets, and superiors can evaluate managers' efforts and skills. For the first importance, it's about providing goals and targets for managers. As an example, managers can eliminate or reduce non-value-added activities in order to achieve the company's goal. For the second importance is for the manager's decision-making to achieve goals and targets. A activity-based management system leads the manager to take a proper action and a better decision-making to achieve the company's goal. For the last importance is superiors can evaluate managers' efforts and skills. So, the superiors can detect any problems with the manager's action or decision making, and the managers and superiors can cooperate together and work together to achieve the company's goal. Now, I will pass the presentation to Zawani.
Thank you, Nurdiana. Next, we will move on to the implications of activity-based management to the operations, which comprises of product planning and design, quality management and control, workforce management, and process design and improvement. The operation function is strengthened by the interlinking of all the processes and allows source decision-making with regard to the efficiency of the system. First, let's see from the first aspect, which product planning and design. Activity-based management helps the organization in the designing and innovation of products. It is easy for the management to allocate the cost in an industry which produces one product than in a company which produces a wide array of products. This owes to the fact that production of multiple products incurs high manufacturing overhead costs. The costs that included in the overhead costs are supervisory, maintenance of machinery and equipment, inspection costs, and production control costs. The traditional cost accounting system employs only two related variables in overhead cost assignment. This leads to overestimation of company profits and a base analysis of buy or make decision. In addition, the decision of outsourcing products and employees is subjective given the inaccuracy of information used for decision making. Next, let's move on to the quality management and control. As we all know, it is a common goal for all organizations to uphold the quality delivery at all times. This entails the maintenance of high levels of quality and service delivery. Therefore, the bottom line is the improvement of quality in all aspects of the business, hence the business will automatically advance. Activity-based management also helps the organizations in the cost justification in projects. The system takes into account the non-financial factors, hence it will help in the selection of an appropriate project and surmounting the quality cost. It helps in the detection and correction of costs not captured by the traditional costing method. This includes the prevention, appraisal, and internal failure costs. The prevention costs are the costs which are incurred in order to prevent the occurrence of errors. The appraisal cost refers to the clerical tasks which confirm whether the products conform to the required standard. The internal failure costs are the costs incurred in order to ensure that any error committed within the organization does not reach the customers. On the other hand, the external cost refers to the cost incurred in hand of customer complaints and customer dissatisfaction. Next, in workforce management, activity-based management system positively impacts the employees of an organization. It will give some influences in certain areas which are the roles and responsibilities, the performance measures, the employee empowerment and accountability, and capacity and investment management. For the roles and responsibilities, it enables the employees to take part in making decision process. This makes them more responsible and accountable of all their actions pertaining to the overall productivity of the firm. The work of the middle-level managers is significantly reduced. This lot does facilitating of the performance of the employees instead of supervising them. In this regard, the managers enable employees to exploit their potential in performance. Next, the performance measures. It provides the benchmarking process which evaluates the overall performance of all employees against the employee performance of similar firms in the same industry. This is to avoid from controversial and counterproductive issues that usually happens between managers and employees. A high supervisory's performance will lead to low productivity because employees need independency of thoughts in performing their duties. In addition, the benchmarking used is also done based on other factors like service levels, time management, and quality management. From the employee empowerment and accountability, it enables the workforce to understand the objectives of the firm and increasing their overall performance in the organization, as it converts financial information into activity. This boosts both the performance of the workforce and continuous improvement of quality. Furthermore, this relates to the application of theory Y, whereby the employees have self-drive at their workplace, according to Frost, based on his case study in 2005. The employees can make decisions on the handling of materials. This empowers the employees, hence increasing their overall performance in the organization. Lastly, for capacity and investment management, it gives insight on the difference between reduction of unutilized capacity and increase of shareholders' wealth. The activity-based management analyzes the scenarios which are the productive, non-productive, and the idle capacities. The productive capacity is the capacity which has been fully utilized. The non-productive capacity is the capacity which is not useful to the company. Therefore, this non-productive bit has been ignored by the organization. And the idle capacity is the capacity which is available for use but has not been exploited by the organization. In this regard, the activity-based management system enables a continuous improvement process through the focusing on the unused capacity of the firm. In addition, the system allows organizations make informed decisions with regard to the growing concern of the organization. The last aspect is process design and improvement. The activity-based management system gives guidance in the decision-making pertaining to the human and business processes. It also analyzes all the determinants of the activities involved in the production process. In this regard, it reveals substantial information to the people who design the products. This owes to the fact that the information helps the product designers to select the best design which will meet the market demands. Most companies resort to random design of their products in a bid to meet market demands. These companies also make complex products which are expensive to produce. Next, the activity-based management system identifies the overestimated product cost through the analysis of the production processes and activities. For example, pure cellular manufacturing. Cellular manufacturing refers to the mini assemblies which manufacture similar products. In this regard, there is no distinction between the indirect cost and direct cost because the system unifies the cost. Western Zirconium Company benefited from the activity-based management system in 1988. This system enabled the company to reorganize its manufacturing floor in order to arrange the work. This improved the production because movements were minimized in the production zone. Next, I will pass to Nurul Shazana. Thank you.
Thank you, Nuzawani. I will proceed with the output of an ABM information system. There is 5 output of an IBM information system, which is cost driver, accurate products, activity-based performance measure, the cost of activities and business processes, and lastly, the cost of non-value added activity. For the first element, which is a cost driver, it is the factor that causes a change in the cost of activity. For example, is the quality of part received by an activity, which is percentage which are defective. For the second output, it is accurate product, or we call it as service cost. It is also known as cost object. It is accurate product and service cost information is vital for selecting the individual and segmented market where an organization competes for pricing in those markets. For the third output, it is activity-based performance measure. It measuring the performance of activities, provides a scorecard to report how well improvement efforts are working, and is an integral part of continuous improvement. For the fourth output, it is the cost of activities and business processes. It means that it provides relevant cost information about what a business does instead of reporting what money is spent for and by whom costs are assigned to activities. For the last output, it is the cost of non-value added activities. It means that an activity that is not contribute to customer value or to the organization need, which defined as a waste, identification of waste is valuable to the management. Next, I will proceed to the issue arise from IBM. There are two issues arise from IBM. The first one is budgeted or actual cost, and the second one is other cost object. What is budgeted cost? Budgeted cost is more timely and relevant information for such decision. In contrast, for the actual or past cost, it is in a stable environment. At the same time, past cost can be a reliable indicator of future costs. In a rapidly changing environment, past costs are less relevant, but it may be very difficult to predict future costs and activity accurately. Meanwhile, for other cost object, it is the cost view of ABC can be used to assign cost to any chosen cost object. For example, some business use ABC to estimate the cost of using supplier, and some businesses identify the cost of producing product and servicing particular customer. Next, I will pass to Nurdiana to explain the advantage and disadvantage of IBM. Thank you.
Thank you, Shazana. Now I will proceed to the presentation for the advantages and disadvantages of activity-based management. For the first advantages is activity-based management is more detailed and accurate than a functional-based cost management system. Yes, it is true that activity-based management is more complex and costly compared to other systems, but most of the manufacturing industries implement it. Next, it helps to reduce customer response of time by identifying activities that consume the most resources in value and time. As an example, by eliminating the non-value added activities. Next, the disadvantages. The first disadvantages is success at reaching activity-based management goals can be attained without necessarily obtaining desired outcomes. The action taken does not lead to desired outcomes, even the manager successfully complete the goals. As an example, a production manager has achieved its throughput target, but actually it is based on the company's ability to achieve and increase their sales and market penetration. Next, it relates to the rigidity of activity-based management goals, where actions are not easily reversed, and it's difficult for superiors to change incentives based on activity-based management goals. As an example, improving production throughput may require retasking subordinates, and the actions is not easy to be done and reversed. I will pass the presentation to Zawani.
Thank you, Nurdiana. So, I would like to share with you guys some journals that we found regarding the activity-based management. The first journal we found is Activity-Based Management for Electronic Commerce, a structured implementation procedure by Narcis Rostocky in 2010. This journal discussed on how activity-based management works in the electronic business. The author implemented few steps in his study, which is commonly used by small manufacturing companies. There are 7 steps used in his methodology, which are establishing objective and requirements of the costing system, identifying business activities, tracing overhead to activities by using the expense activity dependence matrix, tracing overhead to cost objects by using the activity product dependence matrix, tracing direct cost to cost objects, calculating product cost of each cost object, and using the activity-based costing and activity-based management analysis for operational and strategic decision making. There is also an applications example found in his study. It is about highqualitytools.com, which is a fictitious company, but an appropriate financial and organizational representation of many .coms. The author implemented all the steps he mentioned earlier for the company. He defined activity-based management as implementing a number of managerial steps derived from the output of activity-based costing analysis, which can be divided to operational and strategic activity-based management. He stated that in the case of high-quality tools, both operational and strategic activity-based management options are possible. The options may in improving high-quality tools focus in order processing and handling customer complaints. As a conclusion, the author stated that activity-based management appears to have a potential to lead the businesses toward efficient levels and operations and more professional business strategies. The next journal that we found is Activity-Based Costing or Management and its Implications for Operations Management by M. Gupta K. Galloway. The purpose of this paper is to discuss how activity-based management systems can support effective operations decision-making processes. An activity-based management system as an enabler to improve the operations decision-making. They demonstrate that these systems enable an operations manager to enhance the quality of the decision-making process. Activity-based management system is designed and implemented on the premise that products consume activities, activities consume resources, and resources consume costs. It also examines all processes that are actually relevant to the production of a product and attempt to determine exactly what portion of each resource is consumed. For example, which activity a particular product uses. Central to the activity-based management systems is the concept of cost driver. A cost driver is an event associated with an activity that results in the consumption of the firm's resources. A broad-based management accounting system, such as an activity-based management system, extracts inputs from the internal focus while keeping all the outside segments in balance. An activity-based management system development process involves identifying resources, resource drivers, activities, activity drivers, and also the objects of work. The operations management decision-making process has been defined to constitute decision responsibility in 6 major areas, which is product planning and design, quality management and control, process design and improvement, inventory management, capacity management, and workforce management. In this paper, it shows that this system is a natural candidate for this inner circle on which the operations wheel is mounted. In conclusion, traditional cost accounting methods which allocate overhead costs on the basis of one driver, for example direct labor or machine hours, are inaccurate and misleading as these methods often allocate too much cost to one product and not enough to another. To address this problem, activity-based management was developed to provide a means to create a more accurate representation of how activities performed in the creation of a product or service actually impact its costs. The next journal is about the best practices in activity-based management by Swenson Lee in 1997. The purpose of this journal is to summarize the results of a study conducted by a research team on the best practices of implementing and using activity-based management. They have invited a total of 750 service and manufacturing organizations to participate in this research survey on activity-based management. However, only 166 companies answered the 20 pages of survey. From the questionnaires that were written, the top 5 most common applications of activity-based management were product costing, cost reduction, profitability analysis, process improvement, and cost estimation. The research team then chose 15 of the companies to be the best practice companies for site visits. The companies were chosen in groups of 5 from the following industries, which is manufacturing, process manufacturing, and also service. The companies were selected on the basis of their success in relation to the following 4 criteria: the age of their activity-based management system, extensiveness of activity-based management applications, extent of activity-based management system integration, and lastly, level of success with their activity-based management system. Typically, the best practice companies enter the activity-based management value chain cycle at one particular area, and then revolve to other sections of this cycle. One of the most important improvement initiatives for companies is the practice of benchmarking. The research team discovered several companies that exhibit pieces of the activity-based management system, but learned that very few actually had a fully developed system. After viewing the 15 companies, the researchers decided that the best practice companies take a process view of their organization, employ solid activity-based management practices, and tie activity-based management to other corporate plans. Although companies seem to be satisfied with the use of the information provided by activity-based management to support decision-making, they should be aware that relatively few changes or dollar savings have been reported. Many companies have not yet reflected in the terms of total cost of activity-based management, but are inclined to focus on internal costs of designing and making a product. They must not disregard the upstream supplier or the downstream distribution and support costs. Due to the continual developments of activity-based management implementation techniques, companies are beginning to recognize the enormous value that an activity-based management system can provide. For the conclusion, the activity-based management provides a solution by employing multiple cost drivers in the allocation of overhead costs to the products or services. Activity-based management is based on the activities of producing a good, hence it gives accurate data on the manufactured products. The new system also employs benchmarking process in the performance appraisal of the overall performance of the organization. Next, it employs the re-engineering of products, which is a competitive strategy in the market. This boosts competitive edge of the firm in the industry. Next, activity-based management provides valuable information in the management decision-making with regard to the cost justification and effectiveness. It enables the determinant of the effects of the production activities and also the cost of production. And last, activity-based management helps in the determination of value-adding activities increased while the non-value-adding activities are abandoned. That's all from us. Thank you.